Thank you so much for being here. Welcome. Today is also International Women's Day. Yay! And it's also Women's History Month. And so during this time, we celebrate all the wonderful women who have challenged the status quo to achieve amazing things and make the world a brighter, better place for all. What a perfect occasion to celebrate Frances Huntley-Cooper. This evening, we're going to recognize the hero who put the time in to be exceptional, to be a bold leader, and be altruistic when it comes to the community. Frances served as the first and was the only elected Black mayor until 2022 in any jurisdiction of Wisconsin. Good afternoon. My name is Keisha Bozeman, and I am proud to serve as the Mistress of Ceremonies for the naming of the Common Council Chambers after Frances Huntley-Cooper, in recognition for her impact that she's had on the community. I met the amazing Frances when I moved to Madison back in 2010 and have been able to work with her in different capacities within the community. Later, I found out that my mother knew Frances when she was the mayor of Fitchburg. My mother was the director of the Conference of Black Mayors, and Frances was the only woman during that time. My mother bestowed on me the importance of Frances's achievement to serve as a female mayor. Frances is not only my sorority sister, my mentor, and my good trouble collaborator. I consider Frances family. She is a trailblazer, she is phenomenal, and has an unwavering commitment to serve this community. I can't imagine this community without Frances Huntley-Cooper. Her storied life is built on education, service, and community. Naming the council chambers after Frances is a well-deserved honor. I'm elated that she is receiving her flowers now for her impact and contributions. There's a few people we want to thank. We want to thank the Fitchburg City Council members. Any council members here? Thank you. The Fitchburg Administrator's Office. So Chad and Linda, thank you. The Boys and Girls Club of Dane County. And Tempo Madison. I also want to recognize the members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. We have a lot of special guests that you'll hear from today. For those that are not on the program, I want to recognize any elected officials, state and local. Are there any other elected officials here that's not on? Can you wave or stand up? Yes, the Mayor of Madison. Yes, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. School board members. Any school board members here? Thank you. And any Dane County judges in the audience. Please turn your phones on silent. Let's do it now. Everybody check. So we're ready to start this program. We have an exciting program for you. Each speaker has 3 minutes to speak. And I'm the timekeeper. So if you just see me kind of waltz up, think of me like the Sandman. I would just, it's going to be a kindly reminder to wrap it up, okay? Because we don't want to keep you here all night. We want to be mindful of the time. So Now, I am happy to introduce to you the Mayor of Fitchburg, the Honorable Aaron Richards, to bring the welcome, followed by the invocation by Dr. Alex G.
Thank you, and welcome everyone here for this very, very great event. Long overdue to celebrate Frances Huntley-Cooper and all the great things that she has done, not only for the city of Fitchburg, for the state as well. I think that when I look at the things she's accomplished, and you look at how she's been a trailblazer and someone who has come forward and has been really an idol, someone who's been a mentor for many people, including people of color as well, I think that's really her legacy. And I think that when you look at Fitchburg in the 90s, electing the first black mayor here in Fitchburg, I think that I'm very proud of that. I'm someone who grew up here in Fitchburg. I'm the fifth generation of my family here, and I really feel like we celebrate diversity here, and that's really because of something that started back when Frances was elected mayor. So I think that to be able to celebrate this here today, to have everyone here celebrating her is fantastic. And really her legacy lives on today. When you look at our council, we have people who are black, who are Hispanic, who are gay, and we really embrace diversity here. And to me, that's one of many legacies of Frances Huntley-Cooper, but that's one especially here in Fitchburg that I'm very proud of as well. So thank you, welcome everyone, and I'm very excited to hear from our other great speakers. And so with that, I would like to welcome Dr. G for the invocation.
Good evening, everyone. I'm really honored to be here today. First of all, I want to say that I refer to her as Miss Frances, but not only was Miss Frances Wisconsin's first African-American mayor, she is the most gorgeous mayor that the state. She's rather fine. I've been a Fitchburg resident since 1995, and there are many things about this city that make me proud. But of all my years being here, this is the proudest moment that I've been a part of, that the city would recognize the legacy of this great leader and this great woman. And so I'm very glad about that. The other thing I want to say is that Ms. Frances came out of retirement, semi-retirement, to be a co-chair for our capital campaign for the Center for Black Excellence in Culture. And there's nothing that I've asked her to be at or to be a part of that she didn't unwaveringly, unhesitant. She didn't hesitate to be there and to show up. It's been a long day. She was there. And so it's just an honor to be able to recognize her. The last thing I want to say before my short prayer is Ms. Keisha said she can't imagine a world without Ms. Frances. Because of the action that we're taking today, we will never have to imagine Fitchburg without her. And that's, let's pray. Lord, thank you for this wonderful servant leader, this woman who epitomizes what it means to be in the background, what it is to be strong, what it means to stand up and to take powerful stands when necessary. Thank you that she has modeled things that's an encouragement and a role model for so many of us and all of us and our families and our children. For this great occasion where we get to focus on something good, something positive, and something collective, we're grateful. We needed the win that we're experiencing today. So thank you that this woman, the servant leader, has caused us to be together today. So let her feel seen, heard, recognized, remembered, and particularly blessed in this gathering today. May she feel the love that we have, because she has so many more marks to make on our community and our world, and we hope that today is a small reminder of that. Be blessed in this time and continue to watch over her and her family and her health and well-being. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. G. Okay, so now we thought it was really important that people were able to see what they came for. So we're going to unveil the plaque now. And so I'm going to bring Michael Johnson, Dr. Leslie Petty, and Shayna Lewis to talk about the journey that we went on, but also unveil the plaque to show you all what it looks like.
Let me just say it is an honor to be here today. I remember this process started right around the time that George Floyd was killed. And I remember there was young people at the Capitol telling us that our community as a whole lacked representation of people of color in our state capitol and buildings throughout Dane County. And it was the young activists who really came up with this idea and planted the seed with me to start saying we as elders in our community have to do a better job making sure that we recognize people who have been trailblazers in this community. And I remember calling the governor after hearing those concerns, and weeks later we raised almost $500,000, and Val Phillips is going to end up being the first woman in the United States of America to have a state statue, a singular state statue outside of the state capitol. So, Governor, thank you for helping to make that happen. I also want to thank the mayor and the Fitchburg City Council. I remember all of the phone calls and the late night conversations we had, and we were trying to encourage them to name the entire building after Frances, and I'm still going to advocate for that. So naming these chambers after her is just the start. And Frances, as long as I live in Dane County and this team, someday this building is going to be named the Frances Huntley Municipal City Hall building. Frances is only the first and only black woman in Wisconsin to be elected the mayor of this state. And we have to recognize that, and not only black kids or white kids or Latino kids or Hmong kids, our kids need to see what our history represents. And so I am thankful to have played a small part in this, Frances, and thankful for our board who has allowed our organization to advocate to make sure that kids in this community see the folks who've come before us, the folks who are among us, to be represented in buildings, whether it be statues, in communities all throughout Dane County and Wisconsin. And so I want to invite the team up who organized this, Shana and Dr. Leslie Petty. And I'm just so thankful to see so many people in this room. And let's not just celebrate Frances today, let's celebrate her every day, every year. And we are just so thankful for the leadership you've provided to this community. And just personally, I know when I have called on you at Boys and Girls Clubs, you have always been there. I have always been there. So Frances, we love you, and we're so thankful that you're being honored today.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Shana Lewis. And like many of you here, Frances Huntley-Cooper has had a positive effect on my life. She is my Tempo sister, and I adore her. On January 27th, 2022, I had the honor of testifying before the Fitchburg City Council to encourage them to commemorate Frances's commitment to public service, mentorship, education, and justice by naming City Hall after her. When the Fitchburg City Council took action to name their council chambers after Frances, we knew we had to celebrate this decision in two ways. First, with a plaque. So visitors to the building, especially black and brown children and girls, would know about her trailblazing efforts and dedication to the community. You will hear from a lot of people today about how Frances was the first in many important roles in our community. This list is impressive and inspiring. And the second way to celebrate this decision, because Frances loves a party, we knew we had to plan a gathering where we could all come together to rejoice and applaud Frances. So we got to work. I had the pleasure, along with Leslie Petty, Keisha Bozeman, Michael Johnson, Joe Maldonado, Chad Brecklin, and others to help plan this event. We are thrilled to be unveiling the plaque that will be displayed in the Fitchburg City Hall to memorialize that the Fitchburg City Council Chambers is now known as the Frances Huntley-Cooper Common Council Chambers. Frances always jokes that I'm the president of her fan club. But she and I both know that's not a joke. It's the truth. She's an amazing gem of a human who has given so much to all of us. Frances has a knack of knowing what you are capable of before you even know what you're capable of. When Frances is in your corner, you can do just about anything. You can be just about anything. Even an event planner, right, Leslie? We are thrilled that the City of Fitchburg is bestowing this immense honor upon Frances in recognition of her immeasurable service to the community and her important role in state history. Thank you. Leslie?
So I get the honor of presenting this beautiful plaque and also ask Frances Huntley-Cooper to please join us in the front. On behalf of, I think all of us here today, but in particular, the City of Fitchburg, Frances, you are certainly a gem. I'd like to present to you, on behalf of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, these beautiful tea rose bouquet, which is the official flower of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority. And Frances, if I can also ask you to please stand on the other side. Okay. As we unveil this beautiful plaque. This side over here. Frances, do us the honor and pull off the case. Frances, City of Fitchburg, Frances Huntley-Cooper, Common Council Chambers. On March 2nd, 2022, the City of Fitchburg Common Council voted to name its chambers after Frances Huntley-Cooper in honor of her many accomplishments, activities, and service to the community. Frances Huntley-Cooper served as the mayor of Fitchburg, Wisconsin, from 1991 to 1993. This election made her the first African-American mayor elected to the office in the state of Wisconsin. She also served as Fitchburg District 1 Alder and president of the Fitchburg Common Council. Frances Huntley-Cooper is a mentor and an inspiration to all of us and beyond. She is the phenomenal woman described in the Maya Angelou poem. It's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need for my care, 'cause I am a woman. Phenomenal woman. That's Frances Huntley-Cooper.
We have a long list of many distinguished speakers here today that really speaks to just how wonderful Frances Huntley-Cooper is. And the first of those, I would like to welcome and introduce our governor, Tony Evers.
you. Thanks, everybody. This is Frances night. And hello, and Frances, it's great to see you again. I've got some hard work for you in a second. Got a few things to say first of all, but it's great Kathy and I are here today. Just thrilled to be here and recognize you and have the opportunity to celebrate in this honor, recognizing you for all your achievements as one of our state's most influential leaders and a heck of a person, Frances. It's an honor and pleasure to know you over the years, too. I can remember probably the first time we met, I was superintendent of schools in Verona Area School District. You were mayor of Fitchburg, and Fitchburg back then wasn't the Fitchburg it is today. And I think people in Fitchburg and the students from Fitchburg, as they went to the high school, had some trouble because Fitchburg was just kind of this small area, and Verona was Verona. There were the Verona Indians at that time. Yeah, we fixed that. Anyway, we made sure that Fitchburg was on the map and was part of that school district in a real good way. So from your time being a mayor to being a founding member of the local NAACP chapter to your years of work supporting the kids and families throughout Dane County, work at Madison College, to your service on the Wisconsin Executive Residence Foundation, to numerous leadership positions you've had, you've been a change maker for this area of the state and for the state of Wisconsin. And not to put pressure on you, but you are also a figure for other young people to look up to and see that they can do some of the same things, and if they just put their minds to doing that, especially if it's never done before. But your efforts and involvement over the years have been instrumental in making our state a more just, inclusive, and equitable place that all of us call home. Frances, you represent the best of us, and everyone is here to celebrate with you tonight. And by this happening, it's a testament to the positive effect that you've had and the impact you've had as a leader for the state of Wisconsin. And as individuals come through these chambers and see this plaque, whether they're newly elected members of the Common Council or their first time here to speak on an issue, they will be reminded of your service and leadership. And they'll also be reminded how much representation matters. They'll be reminded of how important it is to be civically engaged, to take a chance to be a leader in the community, and to do all that with kindness and empathy and respect and compassion. So, Frances, it's a privilege to celebrate with you tonight on behalf of our state. Thank you for your service, advocacy, and work. This honor is incredibly well-deserved. So deserved, I have a plaque for you.
Thank you, Governor Evers. I just want to share quickly, when Leslie contacted the governor's office, it was a quick yes for Frances. And so we appreciate you, First Lady and Governor Evers, being here. I also just want to mention that due to other commitments, the governor and the First Lady will have to leave about midway of the program, but we're glad that you were able to be here. So now I want to introduce to you the former Wisconsin Governor, the Honorable Jim Doyle.
First of all, I have to offer Frances the deepest apologies of Jessica Doyle, her dear, dear, dear friend. The two of them, as with many families, Frances has helped us raise our kids from day one. She has been so important in our lives. Jessica, who's in good health, today thought she ought to take a test. So she took the test. I wish she hadn't. And that, for those of you who've been through it, that little blue bar across the bottom of the line. So she is very, very sorry that she's not here, because we intended to do this together. Since our friendship with Frances goes back nearly 50 years now, I can measure it by the age of my oldest son, Gus, who I don't know how we would have gotten through, and he isn't here so I can embarrass him a little. I don't know how we would have gotten through so many different parts of his life, and Gabe's as well, if we hadn't had Frances Huntley-Cooper to help us every step of the way. And I bet there are many other parents in this room that can say the same thing. For us, if I can just say this personally, Frances and Al's involvement with us was so important as white parents with African-American children. And what she did for us, we can never measure. So I've been thinking there's the plaque here. We should almost put a plaque up in our house for Frances Huntley-Cooper and everything she's done. So we are just personally incredibly grateful and thankful for Frances's friendship and her mentorship, and just the quiet, good sense that she brings to every issue that was there. So Frances, thank you so much for that. In my public life, I learned a lesson about Frances long ago, which is if you need to get a job done, you call Frances. And in some ways, I was lucky as she moved on from being mayor of Fitchburg, because it was right about the time that I was coming into office. And when we needed somebody to really run a very, very important part of state government, workers' compensation, that so many thousands and thousands of people depend on that functioning well and fairly and honestly and taking care of people, it wasn't a hard choice. I think probably within the first couple of days after I'd been elected, I had made the call to Frances to see if she was ready to join the administration. And we were so fortunate to have Frances for all of those 8 years. And there was a lot of hard times and good times, but I know this, as everybody who's worked with her, I know in city government, if you needed somebody to quietly talk to you through an issue and bring just incredibly good values and high intelligence and a good analytic mind and come up with an actual workable solution, then Frances is the person to turn to. And she did it over and over and over again. I could go on with so many personal memories of Frances, but one of the highlights was being at the nominating convention in Denver when the first African-American candidate for President of the United States was nominated. And it was a wonderful celebratory time, followed by, I remember being with Frances 3 months or whatever it was, 2 months later when that man was sworn in, inaugurated as President of the United States. I don't know if he knows this personally, but I know that if you want to carry the state of Wisconsin, you better get Frances on your side. And you can look at all, by the way, speaking of elections, aren't we lucky that this governor was reelected? And there's a big Supreme Court race coming up now, too. You may want to think about it. But Frances, you have been so important to us personally. You have been so important to the people of the state of Wisconsin professionally. You've done so much for the city of Fitchburg, and you've just done so much for families and parents and children all over the state of Wisconsin. So I am really, really proud to be here to share this with you. Again, I know your dear friend Jessica is missing this, is really missing this, and wants to give her your best wishes as well. Thank you for everything, Frances.
So the next person I'm going to bring up is actually Frances's alder, but also was one of the good trouble collaborators helping get this work done. So next I will call up Alder Joe Maldonado.
All right, so I want everybody to just draw their attention to Ms. Frances. Just look at her. I've got to disagree with you, Brother G. She's still fine. Sorry, Al. Isn't she beautiful? She is beautiful inside and out. So I also want everybody to open up their booklets and look at that picture of her campaign advertisement. Sabrina pointed this out to me. Frances is clearly the most qualified. I love that confidence. So I'm going to talk about the theme of clarity because when you're dealing with Frances, it's clear. Everything is clear. I've seen Frances here and there for probably about the past 10 years, but I really got to know her when I started running for alder. She was my campaign treasurer. Not having had a strong relationship with her, she agreed to take me on, and she agreed and put her confidence in me. Clearly, she believed in me, and I appreciate that. She took a lot of time with me, and I just want you to know, if anybody has a close relationship with Frances, make sure you've got at least about an hour when she calls you, because clearly you're going to need more time, because you're going to have a really in-depth conversation, and the time goes by really quickly because Frances is a very interesting person. Frances clearly took the time and the details to make sure that I ran a good campaign. She laid out the people that I need to talk to. She laid out the important relationships in the community. She laid out the specific technical things that I have to do, even though she hadn't been in office for decades, because she clearly knows the deal. And I thought I was special, but by the looks of the amount of people in this room, clearly I'm not as special as I thought I was. So Frances is excellent at building relationships, and I want to specifically talk about her ability to build relationships with young people. She's a North Carolinian. She's an Aggie, and she's incredibly proud of being a North Carolina A&T grad. She lets us know every day that that's where she went and graduated from. I got a chance to actually visit North Carolina A&T for work, and she gave me the connections and the people that I needed to talk to be able to make a good visit and a good impression. So she's clearly in the know. She's a lifelong social worker, so clearly it's not about the money for her. But she took that profession and she dedicated her life to being of service to other people, not just as mayor, but throughout her entire career. She gave her service to the state of Wisconsin, and even after her retirement, she spends so much of her time pouring into the AXO program, preparing young people, high school students, middle school students, to be able to be public speakers, to travel, to have opportunities that they could have never dreamed of, including my own 17-year-old son. And I appreciate the time that she takes to be able to help my own child. I was at an event, and I get around, I start talking to people, my wife starts talking to people, and here she is spending all of her time with Aiden, just having the most great conversations. She still asks about him. She still puts her time and her effort into building those personal relationships because she clearly cares. So I just want to give you your roses. Frances, you're a friend. You're somebody that's very important to me. And I wouldn't have been able to do some of the things I've been able to do here without you. So thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Now we're going to bring up the Honorable Judge Hamdi.
What would I say about Frances? Let me tell you this. I met Frances in 1973. She was doing her master's degree in social work. She was 4 years old. The smartest kid I ever seen. I was teaching statistics and research methods. If you are in social work, you remember that it's compulsory. You have to do it. And it's the most likable course that they have. I don't think Frances needed me at all, but she did very well and got her master's degree. Then I worked with her again at Dane County Department of Social Service. She started as a social worker, and when I left the department, she was managing the delinquency prevention program for the Department of Social Service. I never been involved in the community as much as she does, and in 1976, she asked me to join an organization that she established called Skilled Jobs for Women. Now we're talking about women today, but remember, that was 1976 when Frances was the board of director for the Skilled Jobs for Women. We became very good friends. We got involved in many activities together. And when Governor Doyle appointed Frances to head the Division of Workers' Compensation, which is, for all of you who don't know about it, it's a no-fault insurance program for injured workers. For 8 years, Frances managed this program. And in my view, and I'm still working on workers' compensation, it's never been a better time for workers' compensation since Frances left. When Frances joined the program, she appointed me as an administrative law judge. But she also appointed lots of leaders in our community today. She appointed Fiola, she appointed the Honorable Nia Trammell, and she worked with the best group of people that she have hired, and of course the governor allowed her to do that, but she have hired to join together in ensuring that injured workers get their rights. Without an administrator who oversees justice in workers' compensation, our workforce will never be comfortable enough to produce what they are supposed to do. In 1991, when Frances became a mayor, and my predecessor, the judge in Fitchburg, retired, she asked me to join the city of Fitchburg as a judge, and she appointed me to be a judge. Now, a Muslim Arab American is not very popular to be appointed to anything in 1991, and she did. I appreciate that, because somebody said when France is in your corner, you are really in good shape, because she will always advise you and help you and stand by you. And that's what Frances have done for me. I now supervise 20 administrative law judges because of Frances. Nia is a circuit court judge because of Frances. All of us who've been trained by Frances are good enough because of Frances. May you live forever, Frances. As the oldest person in the room right now, I can tell you, I never met anybody like Frances. She's a great dancer, by the way. She loved to travel. We went, Al and Frances, and most of us here, we remember all the fun we had when we traveled, right? Raise your hand if you have been traveling with Frances. One of a kind. We love you, Frances. We adore you, and we wish you the best. May you live forever. And thank you for helping all of us.
Thank you. Thank you. And now we will have our Dane County Executive, Joe Parisi.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight to celebrate Frances. And Frances, thank you for living a life that has brought this many people and beyond together to express joy that you were born and the life that you're living and the accomplishments you've made. What a gift. Pastor G alluded to it. We need this, right? We need this tonight. A lot of us do. So thank you. Thank you for bringing us together. And as folks have mentioned, as important as this piece of your life is, it's such a small piece of what you've accomplished. You know, if where do you start, right? Where do you begin? I'll just use the letter A, and Joe touched upon this. AXO, that's where our one of the many places our life is intersected. And when I think of Frances, I think of her commitment to young people and her life of service. And as visible and as fun as you are, and as much as everyone knows you, so much of your work is also in the background. I don't have to tell you how much work AXO is. That is a lot of work. That is a grind. That is a commitment. And you don't seek any recognition for that. All you seek is excellence for the young people with whom you work. And it's so much appreciated. The other A I wanted to mention was AKA. And I do appreciate the bipartisan nature of the night. We have AKA and Delta Sisters right next to each other, all coming here to celebrate Frances. That says a lot. And of course, when I think of excellence, I think of men who cook. Now, I'm not saying I'm the one. I'm not going to mention any of my awards tonight because this is your night, Frances, right? But we're looking forward to the resumption of Men Who Cook this April. So if you get ready to get your tickets because it's on again, it's going to happen, and we're going to raise money for more scholarships because of Frances and her AKA Soar Sisters who put so much work into this. So it's one event after another, one act of service, one act of kindness after another. So thank you. It's just so wonderful to be here, to be able to honor you. And thank you, Al, for everything that you do. You're so appreciated as well, that's for sure. Can we hear for Al? Yeah. There we go. And Frances, my last gift to you tonight is I'm not going to read my proclamation either, but I do want to tell you that I did name a day after you. I have declared March 8th, 2023 as Frances Huntley-Cooper Day in Dane County. And I did this because you deserve it, and I don't want it to impact whose dish you vote for this April. Okay? Thank you, Frances. Appreciate you.
How awesome is that? A day after Frances. Okay, so Joe brought up something because I did recognize Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, but when we were in the planning process and trying to advocate for Frances to get the building named after her, it was not only Alpha Kappa Alpha who wrote letters on her behalf. It was the entire Divine Nine. And so I just want to recognize that and thank you all for supporting Frances. So next, I'm going to bring up Stephanie Bradley Wilson, who is the president of the Kappa Psi Omega chapter here in Madison of Alpha Kappa Alpha.
So good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to start off by first having members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated please stand. So remain standing. And if there are other members of the Divine Nine, would you also please stand too? Thank you very much. So I've known Frances for a long time. She's actually the godmother for my oldest child. And she also wrote a letter of recommendation for me when I applied to the Madison Police Department. So thank you, Frances. So I don't have a plaque. I don't have the authority to name a day after Frances. But I do have this button. And it says, her story maker. And so when I saw this button that I had from another AKA event, I immediately thought of Frances. So I will give this to you at some point. But her story makers. Frances Huntley-Cooper falls right in line with the women who have come before her and are our founders of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated that were leaders, possessed a strong passion for community, and being a service to all mankind. Our founding members, I'm sure, would tell her, "Well done, Sora Frances." Alpha Kappa Alpha was founded January 15th, 1908 on the campus of Howard University in Washington, D.C. We are a 115-year-old service organization of predominantly African-American, college-educated women with over 300,000 members and chapters in the United States and in several countries. Frances became a member of our illustrious sorority in December 1970 after being initiated through Alpha Phi chapter at North Carolina A&T, located in Greensboro, North Carolina. Her lovely daughter, Hasina Davison, was also initiated in this chapter in 2004. After moving to Madison, Frances became a charter member of Kappa Psi Omega chapter on May 16, 1976. In our chapter, Frances has held leadership positions: president, vice president, treasurer, and advisor to our undergraduate chapter at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. She currently serves as the Kappa Psi Omega chapter's parliamentarian. She serves on the Sororities International Committee for Corporate Strategic Partnership and now chairs the region's the Donor Engagement Committee. Many of you are familiar with Men Who Cook, as the county executive has said. This has been one of our chapter's important fundraising efforts over the past years to support scholarships for graduating high school students. We have provided over $100,000 in scholarships to help youth access their educational goals. Frances has been key in recruiting chefs for this popular event, which we are exploring how to return Men Who Cook in a post-pandemic world. Frances also serves on the scholarship committee that selects students for our awards. So I'm going to take this as an AKA infomercial. Anyone who wants to donate to our 2023 scholarship fund, especially to honor Frances' legacy, please contact me after this event. Frances uses her many talents to do community service, is a great networker who strives to always get the job done. Failure is not an option for her. She believes in and expects excellence without excuses in whatever she does. Frances is an ambassador for Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and a sorority sister you can count on in all situations. We are proud of the work she has achieved over her life. Thank you, City of Fitchburg, and all the others who work to acknowledge our sorority sister. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sora. Stephanie, as you can hear, there's a theme. One of Frances, I want to say Sora Frances, but Frances Foundation is education. And you heard that from Joe, you heard it from Governor Doyle. It's something that's really important for her. And so Frances spent a lot of time on the Madison College Board. And now I want to introduce to you the president, Jack E. Daniels.
Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening. You know, they gave me 3 minutes to pay homage to Frances Huntley-Cooper. Now, that's a hard task. You talk about someone who has a special on PBS. She's in Wikipedia, and you telling me I only got 3 minutes? Let's see how I do. First, I am truly honored to be asked to speak at this momentous occasion. You've heard all the honors. First African-American mayor elected in Wisconsin, recipient of 2 master's degrees from UW-Madison, social worker, administrator in DWD, alderwoman, a Barack Obama delegate to the 2008 National Convention, proud charter member of AKA, Kappa Psi Omega chapter. NAACP, co-chair of the Capital Campaign for the Center for Black Excellence in Culture, chair of the NAACP AXO Competition Committee, and chair on numerous occasions of the Madison College Board of Trustees. You know, one of the threads that runs through everyone who spoke up here is about being a confidant. She's a confidant and a friend. Frances' influence and impact goes much beyond all the awards and recognitions that she receives. Thoughtful, visionary, committed to the journey. Be it a journey with young people of the community as a whole, or influencing individuals to be active in the political process. A tireless advocate for Black folk and their inclusion into every fabric of this community and the society as a whole. She's a fierce fighter for equity and inclusion and fairness among all. And she represents this community on our college board in exactly the same way I just said. You know, I've even seen her dance. Someone talked about her dancing. As if you want to call it that. See, I've seen her dance with Senator Tammy Baldwin in honor of their same birthday date. And in Frances' style, everyone stopped and had to take notice. She has provided expertise and advice in her role on the Madison College Board. And as I said before, often from the chair's role. Frances has championed inclusivity at the college, and she provided a level of board consciousness as it grows its programs and its services. She was the chair of the board when 10 years ago I was selected as president. And much of what has been accomplished can be attributed to her leadership on the board. And though she is retiring from the board, her influence at the Madison College will be felt for several years to come. You know, it's awesome and it's befitting for the Fitchburg Council Chambers to be renamed the Frances Huntley-Cooper City of Fitchburg Common Council Chambers. Her impact and her legacy will live on and on and on. You know, she has touched many of us, and her journey has not ended. Many more people to touch, many more people to educate, and many more to influence. I think it's equally important, and some have already said this, that we continue to share why these chambers are named in her honor, respecting what Frances has meant to this community and continues to mean. This is history. And as it is history, it's a living history. And it needs to be articulated, especially to our youth. Frances, thank you for your leadership, your commitment to others, and your ongoing support to our communities of color and their allies. Congratulations on this great honor.
Thank you, Dr. Daniels. Again, another group I forgot to recognize, but I do see them in the audience. Frances was the charter member of the Jack and Jill chapter that was here, which focuses on youth of color. And so I know there's some alum here, and I just wanted to recognize and acknowledge Frances' contributions there. So next, this group in particular was adamant about us celebrating Frances. And so I am going to bring up President Michelle Vetterkind, who is the leader at Tempo.
Good evening, everyone. So I stand here tonight proudly representing Tempo Madison. Tempo Madison is comprised of approximately 230 women executives, including C-suite leaders, presidents, vice presidents, executive directors, entrepreneurs, deans, elected officials, and political appointees. And many of my Tempo sisters are here tonight. Tempo sisters, can you please stand? And I know I speak for all of us when I say we are most proud to say that Frances is one of us. Not only is she one of us, but few people embody Tempo Madison's mission to lead, engage, and connect influential women of diverse backgrounds more than Frances. After all, throughout her career, as we've seen tonight, she has blazed a path for other women to follow. From everything we've heard, we all know that Frances goes big. She's tenacious, she's vibrant, she's an amazing leader, and she has a big heart. She truly has made and continues to make a difference. And to say that Frances has played a critical role in Tempo Madison's history is an understatement. She has made and inspired countless contributions to her community through her leadership roles in Tempo Madison. She's a past president. She's served many years on the board of our Tempo of Madison Foundation, and she's served and led numerous committees. That said, while I don't mean to speak for Frances, I think I can safely say that one of her proudest moments was her instrumental role in bringing Maya Angelou to Madison to speak at Tempo Madison's 20th anniversary celebration. And this was also the year that Frances was our president. And while that event took place 20 years ago, our members continue to say it was a highlight, and for some, it was life-changing. I would like to share two quotes by Maya Angelou that I believe truly speak to who Frances is. "My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. And if you're going to live, leave a legacy, make a mark on the world that can't be erased." So well done, Frances. You've left and continue to leave a mark on the world and a legacy that cannot be erased. We're most proud that our Tempo Madison Foundation was able to donate the plaque honoring Frances, and we're most proud of the role that Tempo Madison's DEI committee had in helping to organize this commemoration. Okay, on behalf of Tempo Madison, congratulations, Frances. We could not be more proud than to have you as one of us.
I didn't mean for that to happen. I've been giving everybody at least 30 seconds, past their time, and so I didn't catch it because I was listening intently. So my apologies. Thank you, Michelle. So now I've heard Frances say this is one of her biggest cheerleaders, one of them, because I know she has many in this room, but someone that she is, who has always advocated for her, and I know that she called a friend, but also relies on when things need to get done in the community. I want to introduce Dr. Floyd Rose of 100 Black Men.
It is an honor and a blessing to be here. I want to not be negative, but I do believe we need to address the issue of selective amnesia. There is no way that we should be at this juncture for someone who has done so much for so many and to have this latent approach to recognition. This is beyond comprehension. It's a blessing that we are doing this. It's a blessing that we are all coming together for this purpose. But we cannot let this happen again. My point. Frances was elected in 1991. What is this year? Okay, pop quiz. 32, okay. How old is our state? 175. Very good. You go to the front of the class. So how is it that someone who has done something that no one else has done in 175 years? I know somebody says, well, Milwaukee has a mayor. He's male. I'm talking about a black woman becoming the mayor of a city. That's a whole different genre. And the sisters out there know exactly what I'm talking about. Could I get an amen? Amen. All right. And you say, well, we've cured all those things, and we're going to move on now, and this is not going to be the way it really is. I would like you to consider going to Mr. Google and see what you can do. I hate to say that because people will go to their phones now and do that. And I know some of you have really great search engines. I have the cheap edition of Google. It only works on even numbered days. And I got an error notice when I last went to it today and said, don't come in here tomorrow. But that said, if you were to go, I guess, unless things have changed, you would find 2 articles. One of those will be from a Spectrum One article that appeared in 2020. And another one would be one that appeared in January of this year. How is it that a situation like this is recognized with one article? How is it that it's recognized just before Black History Month with another article? What does that say for those that we really say we're about? Those that are going to be affected by this are not even in the room. It's going to be our children. And those of you that are involved in the education of children understand that when you take a look at the statement of I can or I can't, the intersection is that of encouragement and exposure. Therefore, what is being put in place today has ramifications way beyond what we're talking about right now. This is the fuel for a child to say, I can do that. For a little girl that says, I can be a mayor because there's somebody else that did that. I got to give high marks to Michael Johnson because he pulled off literally the impossible. Is he around here? Oh, okay, all right. Normally I don't miss you, but the light's in my face, so whatever. No, you can do better than that. Please give him a really hard round of applause. I was only in a part of some of this when they were negotiating and trying to deal with this. And what he was saying about trying to do this for the entire building was real. And there was pullback and pushback, and now we're into a phase right now with a lot of happy talk and everybody, oh, yes, I was behind that. And that was all right. I really thought, that's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie. There was folk running away from this thing like no tomorrow. You would think that somebody had shot somebody, they ran so fast to get out the door. He stuck with this. He nurtured it. He played the games that he needed to play. And so we have this that we can now take to our children. And the positives from that are beyond comprehension. Frances has been so worthy of this, but those of you that know, she is not about herself. She is about others. She would just be a good steward, and she works hard trying to do those things to help others. We would have a joke. I'd see her at a political fundraiser, and I'd see her and look across the room. There'd be just two black people in the whole room, and we'd be laughing at each other. Now, understand, Frances came to work the audience and work with all the politicians, whatever. I came for the buffet. And while she was busy trying to convince somebody to do the right thing, I was busy saying, that shrimp has my eye. That's what I want, and I'm ready to take home a bag. If I'm going to give you $100, I'm taking something home with me. But suffice to say, I want to just, again, I'm so honored to be here. I'm so honored to have you here. And I would think that the best way to repay Frances is to keep this going so that we recognize other people that have done phenomenal things. And understand history, he or she who controls the narrative controls. And you say, well, that's not whatever. Okay, let me ask you a question. Indiana, what are they called? People that go to the University of Indiana, what are they called? You know where that name came from? Check it out. Check out Dr. Harry Hoosier. See what he looks like. You will be surprised. God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Rose, for telling it like it is. We appreciate you. So now, someone who is just as committed as Frances in the community, I would like to introduce Carla Gaines, who is a resident of Fitchburg, but also a community leader.
Of the beginning and the end, the first and the last, and I am honored to be the last. I am honored, Frances. I tell you, to come behind these speakers, but also to be a friend and a sister, looking at your children, that you allow me to be in the children's choir some 30 years ago. As a resident of Fitchburg 30 years ago, I'm going to stay to my speech because Keisha is timing me. So when I think of Frances Huntley-Cooper, I think of a black woman that exhibits and personifies excellence, resilience, motivation, and being first. She was my first black mayor of Fitchburg, Wisconsin. And I still call her my mayor today. And I will continue to call her my mayor. We know Ms. Huntley-Cooper was the first black mayor elected in the state of Wisconsin. Another first, she is a charter member of Kappa Psi Omega chapter, as you heard, of Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. That was chartered on May 15, 1976, where she has served as president through 2009 to 2012, and she still serves that organization today, as you heard. And I have to pause here just for a moment. I have to pause, Keisha. Put me on pause. I was rushing in because I had a doctor's appointment. I said, I have to find something pink in my closet. I said, pink, pink, I don't have anything. Pink, I don't have anything. Pink, Lord, Lord, help me, Lord, help me. Because I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. But we are Greek sisters, and I said, well, maroon, and I got a little maroon pink, but I have a pink flower. And I said, I'm going to wear this pink flower in honor of my sister. And another first, as we all heard, founding of the local branch of the NAACP and all of her work that she does in AXO. I mean, she said, Carla, can you be a judge? Carla, can you give me some? I mean, this woman tirelessly works, and she is a mentor to me and to so many. Frances serves on many boards and serves as an elected board, as Dr. Daniels has already said, at Madison College, where I am a proud graduate of. And so she has a plethora of government and community awards, but I must mention one of the illustrious awards that she has, the YWCA Woman of Distinction Award that she received. I mention that award because she played a very instrumental part for me receiving that award too. And Frances, as we see in this room, you have played such a first of instrumental things, of touching people's lives in this room. And so that's one of the most important first things of the lives, the drops of love that you have provided and you have touched in people's lives. And that is one of the most important things that people will always remember, the drop of love that Frances gave to me. And so, Frances, I leave with you today that you are the first, which brings us here today, which we are proud to say that we know you. But I'm proud to say that I am a resident of Fitchburg, that you got me involved in doing some appointed work for one of our past mayors of Fitchburg, and that you got me involved. Matter of fact, Dr. Sabrina was here one day when I got sworn in to do that work. So I thank you for that, because I never would have done that if it wasn't for you. So, Miss Mayor, the mayor, you know how Ohio State, the mayor of Fitchburg, the first black mayor of Fitchburg, I salute and honor you.
What a wonderful way to end our speakers. It's funny because Sister Carla was telling me about everybody else's time, and then she comes up here and take a pause. All right, so now I'm going to bring my partners in good up here, Shayna Lewis and Dr. Leslie Petty, for a presentation for Soar Frances.
All right, Frances, we're going to ask you to please join us again. So we've heard quite a bit about the incredible work, contributions, and service you have done within the community and beyond. The one area that truly sticks out is how you have impacted children. We don't have many children that's in this room today. We do have your beautiful grandchildren. And I have my son here, who's 14, who has the opportunity of witnessing the amazing, beautiful legacy you have left and will continue to lead. And that's what this occasion is all about. It's all about the indelible mark you have left in this community, Frances. You're certainly a mentor to me, to many of us here that is sitting and supporting you. And we are honored to be a part of this celebration. And so we're happy to give you a gift that is a replica of this beautiful plaque that will be outside of this chamber to forever, in perpetuity. So please, Shayna, give us the honor. Beautiful. I'm sorry.
Look at my photographer over there.
So, Frances, we're going to ask you to give us some remarks. We probably won't time you for 3 minutes. But we're going to give you a bit more than that because you are the honoree today. Thank you. He's back. He's
Okay. Okay. So, well, first of all, good evening, everyone. And just thank you for being here. I prepared a few comments to try to stay within the 3 minutes that I was given. So I'll start, okay. I want to first acknowledge and publicly thank a few folks that are here with us today. And I have to start off with Michael Johnson, who refuses to let our history be forgotten, reached out to me one morning and asked if I had seen a post on Facebook. Well, this non-savvy technical person, yours truly, had not. The celebration tonight grew out of Michael's vision to keep history accurate and alive. And I'm happy to have joining me today the former and first Fitchburg Black family. My husband, first gentleman, Alfonso Cooper. Son, Akil Cooper. Daughter, Hasina Davison. And her husband, Jason Davison. Jason is holding the little one, Zariah. She's not feeling well, you all. And my oldest granddaughter, Amira. Amira is the one that I was unable to go visit for her birthday because of medical issues. So I'm glad that they were able to make it up from North Carolina. What a beautiful day this has been. I'm deeply humbled and truly honored to be here in a room dedicated to recognizing the first elected Black mayor in state history. It is not about me as an individual, but about Fitchburg's Black history in this great state of Wisconsin, made right here in this beautiful city of Fitchburg 32 years ago on April the 5th, 1991. After coming in second during the primary, the opportunity to serve Fitchburg and be elected by our amazing citizens was historic. That election also garnered national attention as I became the 327th Black mayor in the country. Today is significant as the city of Fitchburg recreates, documents, and shares part of its history within our state. Recognition by and in my home city of Fitchburg are particularly meaningful. On February the 1st, I was honored during Black History Month by the UW Credit Union at their new Fitchburg branch built during the pandemic and located at the northern part of Fish Hatchery Road near the gateway to our city. James Johnson, the UW Credit Union's Director of Community Partnerships, and their CEO, Paul Conant, named their executive conference room in my honor. What a special time to hold this celebration also during Women's History Month and the International Day of Women. It is significant to educate our community, to proudly spotlight women who have made history in a male-dominated world and who continue to navigate across all professions to this day. I am looking forward to the day when women and people of color will be in or have served in top positions across all industries. Thus, we won't need to make headlines as the first. It will instead be a place and time where we can welcome others to our table. We have with us today in the city of Fitchburg a very special trailblazer and leader, Ada Deer. Ada, we want to thank you for your service and advocating on behalf of all people. I also want to acknowledge the current women elected to serve on the Fitchburg City Council and former Mayor Jeannie Sealing. If you're here, please stand. And Jeannie, I don't know if I saw her. Jeannie's here, yes. Okay. And I think I saw Julia Harada Frada. Okay, yay. I don't know if I saw Gabrielle. Yes, I see you. These are all Fitchburg women that are serving on the city council. Is there anyone else that I missed from Fitchburg? Okay, thank you for being here. I also want to acknowledge, and Keisha had already acknowledged, all of the elected officials from the city council, the Dane County judges, school board, county board, and state house. And if there's any former elected or appointed individuals that are here, please stand, because I saw Gary Snyder, who served with me on the Fitchburg City Council. Gary, is there anybody else that is in the room that I didn't see? Okay. Sean Pfaff. Okay, Sean, yay. Steve. Bill Horns, please stand. Okay. And I don't know if I missed anybody else, but I just have to say Gary goes way back. That was way back there when I was just an alder person. Okay. And Jeannie, thank you so much for your guidance. And Jeannie oftentimes is confused with me, but Jeannie is the first female mayor of Fitchburg, not me. That was Jeannie. I came in under her. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. Thank you, Jeannie. Okay, a few more people that were instrumental when I was elected back in the day, and I just think it's important to not just share my perspective of what happened back in the day, but have others also. And I mentioned Gary and I mentioned Jeannie, but another person who was also influential in me getting elected was Sherry Gruder. Sherry is still here. Sherry, stand. She put Fitchburg on the map for recycling and very supportive of me. And then someone I cannot ignore is, and not mention because they're not here, but the other mayor I served under was Tom Capp. So Jeannie Sealing was the first mayor that I served with, and then Tom Capp was the second. And he's the one who pretty much put me out there. That was on the path to becoming mayor, because that was not in my schedule to do. So, if you don't like that I'm mayor, you have to sort of go with Tom. And a few other people that I don't know if Bill Konzemius is here. Bill, where are you? Okay, because Bill Konzemius was my treasurer, and he was also my daughter's principal back in the day. So I'm just doing a little reflection here because it's very important for people to have the different perspectives. As I close out, I just want to thank all of you for being present here today. The Fitchburg residents that are here in the room who voted for me, who worked for me, campaigned for me and everything, thank you so much. They gave me a chance. They gave me a chance. And then I also want to thank Keisha Bozeman for emceeing the program, Michael Johnson with the Boys and Girls Club who got this idea rolling, Mayor Aaron Richardson, and the city of Fitchburg for moving forward with what the people said we'd like to have. Tempo Madison, past presidents Leslie Petty, Shayna Lewis, and Michelle Vetterkind, who also were instrumental in working with the city of Fitchburg to move this along. And all of my dear friends who worked to make this program a reality, my AKA sisters as well, and the Divine Nine who showed up, and everyone who came out to speak and testify at the hearing for this particular opportunity to have a room named in my honor. And finally, I did see PBS in the back. Joel, thank you. Joel did the PBS Wisconsin Life. He's in the back there waving. Thank you, Joel. Bravo Magazine also did a story in January. So these two came out within a couple of days. I also know, I don't know who's in the back there covering, but thank you, press, for being here. The media has been very kind to me now that I'm not in office. Okay. And I'm glad I'm not in office, okay? Let me be clear on that one. Okay. And then I always have to give a shout out to our black media, the Madison 365, Capital City Hughes, Umoja Magazine. And then I want to give a special shout out to a young man, because you've heard people refer to the involvement I've had with youth, but there is a photographer walking around here, Amadou Kromah. There he is. Okay. And Amadou, you're looking good too. Okay, so Amadou was one of my first NAACP AXO students who went on to compete locally, win in photography, didn't know what he was doing at the time, but said, Frances, what am I supposed to be doing to prepare for national? I'm like, we've never had a local competitor in that area. But anyway, we helped mentor him, and he went on to national and won second place, silver. So, award-winning photographer. Thank you, Amadou. You're very welcome. And then there are some people here who came in addition to my family, but there's some people here who traveled from out of state. Sonorma, Mitchell, Erin Jenkins. Where are you, Erin? That's another sorority sister in the back. I don't know if Aile, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Some of these individuals, particularly Aile, she's about 3 weeks difference between her and my daughter in age. So I've known this young lady forever. And when she found out about this, she said, I'm coming up. And another one decided to surprise me. And then another one, all of these young folks I have a good relationship with, I think. And I'm so proud of all the things they've done. So thank you for being there and coming up and taking the time to support me in this important day. I just want to say, let's keep up the good work and champion for diversity, equity, and inclusion every day, not just one day, 1 month, but every day. And let's challenge each other respectfully. And I just want to also acknowledge all of the people in the room who I've worked with and everybody who was on the program. Thanks for coming and the kind words you said and things you did. That is all I have. I just want to say good night and thank you for being here.
All right, this was supposed to be the conclusion of the program, but something came in, a surprise that we want to give to Frances that just came in. But before we announce what that is, we do have light appetizers and cupcakes to celebrate this occasion, so when you leave, please do so. And overall, I just want to thank everyone for being here. And now I'm going to turn it over to Michael Johnson for the special surprise.
I'm going to ask if Percy Brown can come up and close us out in prayer, if you don't mind coming up. We're working on another project, and I wish she was here. A woman by the name of Barbara Nichols. And as you all, Barbara's here. Hey, Barbara. Barbara was the first African-American president of the Nurses Association. Barbara, can you stand up? And Barbara is a trailblazer. And as Dr. Rose shared, we need to continue recognizing our people. So if you're in the audience today and you want to help out on this next project, we want to honor Barbara Nichols in a very, very special way. Can we do that? Yeah. All right. So one of my donors I invited here tonight, I'm still trying to learn how to raise money and try to follow Dr. G, who has done a great job raising money for his project. We're a little bit behind you now, I think, at about $35 million for our workforce center. But we are tonight going to announce the Frances Huntley-Cooper Scholarship Fund at the Madison Community Foundation. Now, don't clap yet because we need your help tonight. So one of my donors who wanted to remain anonymous, but I'm going to look at him over there. See that guy in the glasses? That's our anonymous donor. He was like, do not say my name, but I'm going to say it because I love you, Chris Fortune. Thank you so much. So Chris said, when I told him I wanted to do this, he said, I'll match any contributions you raise tonight. So I grabbed his hat, and I'm going to ask you all whether it's $10, $5, $100, just like we do in church. I'm going to ask you to come up row by row and make a pledge, make a contribution, and let's make sure, say it again? Oh, the Venmo. So if you ain't got cash, you can write a check or BGC DC, go to our website, care of Frances Huntley-Cooper. We're going to then take, if you want to do that, write me a note, and I will contact you to make sure that Venmo go through. And I'm hoping tomorrow morning I can take a check over to the Madison Community Foundation and that we have an endowment in her name that will last in perpetuity.